In the lecture series last video we have discussed about the first law of thermodynamics. So in the today lecture series we have discussed about the second law of thermodynamics. Okay. So today we are going to discuss the second law. So in the last video, as we discussed about the first law tells that when the heat is supplied to a system, it first increases internal energy and then the remaining amount of heat energy is converted into work. This was studied in the first law. So now we are going to discuss about the second law. What is the need for second law and why we are going leaving the first law? That we will discuss. So here let us have a small example. Okay. So we will have a small example. So this is an table where we are having a vessel with hot water. Okay. So we are keeping a hot water with a vessel on a table. We are leaving it for some 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So what we can observe is initially this will be very hot. So when we leave this for 10 to 15 minutes, what happens is, so the heat will be lost to the environment. The heat will be lost to the environment. And then after 15 to 20 minutes, when we come and check the temperature, definitely the temperature will be less. So why this is happening? So this is based on this thermodynamic laws. So what thermodynamic laws tells is heat flows from a hot body to a cold body. Heat always flows from a hot body to a cold body without any help. If you take my hand, let us have a small example. So this is my hand. I am keeping a small ice cube on my hand. Okay. So what we observe is, so after some times the ice begins to melt. After a few minutes what happens? The solid ice becomes water. So why this is happening? Because our hand is a hot body, this ice cube is a cold body. So without any work or any movements, heat flows from the hot body to cold body. So based on this concept, what happens is the ice gets melted by observing the heat and becomes water. Okay. So the same principle here, the environment is the cold body and this cup of this water vessel is a hot body. So heat from the hot body moves to a cold body. Okay. So what happens is this vessel gets colder. So as we discuss about the design thinking, so what is the empathy in the first law? Okay. So what is the empathy is, in the first law what happens is only the heat transfer is discussed but no specific direction is not mentioned. So what is meant by direction? So here let us discuss here. So here I have kept an hot water with a vessel and then after a few minutes what happens, heat is lost, it is going to the environment. Now what I am doing is, I am keeping a cold vessel and then I want to observe the heat which is lost. But this is not practically possible. The amount which is lost cannot be, it cannot return to the cold body. This is not possible. Okay. So this possibility is discussed by the second law of thermodynamics, that is given by direction. That is direction of flow. So this empathy part of the first law is, the direction of the flow is cannot be mentioned in the first law. So the second law of thermodynamics which we are going to study deals with the direction of the flow. So if you take another example, let us have some hot cup of is an hot cup of coffee. Here also heat, what happens is, goes to the environment. So this is hot body, the environment is a cold body, so definitely heat will flow. So this practically you can, everybody have experienced. Okay, you can also have a small hot cup of coffee in your home, keep it on a table, leave it for 30 minutes. After sometimes if you come and observe, what happens is, the hot coffee, the quantity will be same, but the heat will be lost. Okay, so the same principle deals with this second law. So now if you want to reverse this process, we want to reverse the heat flow towards the cup of coffee, that cannot be guided in the first law. Okay, so this empathy and this defined path is ideated with the second law of thermodynamics. So this is why first law is there, second law is there. So we must understand why first law is there and what is the need to study about the second law. Okay, so first law deals only with the energy conversion, whereas the second law deals with the direction of flow. Okay, so in the next lecture series we will discuss what is meant by second law and what the second law tells. Thank you.